I do want to welcome all of you to today. I know that on the calendar it says one name, but then I realized it's going to be a little difficult to remember, and it's called Explode Your Brand Visibility using video and live streaming. And also, I would love to see your faces because if you can't, I understand. But if you can, definitely show your face because this is not that type of meeting where I'm going to go through and just look at screens. Like, I want to see your face. If you have questions, if you have something, or if I'm saying something and you're like, well, let me know because I want you to be able to walk away that you know that in 1 year, if you implement one of these tips, that you will say, you know what? I actually was able to be able to build the confidence to stand in front of a group of people and make this speech, or stand confidently in front of your manager and say, you know, these are the reasons why I should get this raise during a year review, peer review. And also, if you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, business owner, it's really that if I look back, how many times I've gone live, how many times I've done video, it's all about that being clear in your message, being able to effectively post a video and people really understand what you're saying. So now that you know what I'm trying to help you with, and if your camera's not functioning, it's all good. We're here. The chat is there. Don't worry. So let's get into this party that I love so much. And it's not showing the right screen. It would make sense if I was sharing the right screen. Why is it doing this? Got to love Zoom. That's all I got to say. Going on here.
So much for hoping it was a passing fad during COVID.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, really? Why is this happening? Screen stop. And it was working fine before everybody came in. Let's see here. So besides Zoom being like really fun today, how's everybody's day going so far?
Going all right. I really hate sharing on Zoom, so I feel your pain.
And I actually checked everything. Like I made sure to check everything so it wouldn't be this crazy. Hi. Okay. We're going to do this, and we're just going to, this has to work. Ah, we worked it. Okay. Gotta love it. If there is a will, there is a way. And so I will say this, that even though I was sweating a million bullets, I love live streaming because stuff like this actually happens when you go live, or if you're creating a video, you're recording a video, and then your neighbor decides to start cutting their lawn, or the dog of somebody's dog comes up to you and starts barking at you and chasing you. True story. You just have to go with it. So fun facts about me is that, yes, I am a video marketing producer, but before I was all of that, I used to work in oil and gas. I used to be a financial analyst. So I actually do like numbers. I do like seeing how we can make processes better, because if you look at getting in front of the camera, whether it's to go live or do a video, there is a process behind it. So you definitely want to create whatever that process looks like for you. And for example, if I was to go back and look at something that supply chain was doing with the cost for a raw good, I would actually figure out first, what's the problem? Because why is my sales rep in my face? And then go down and figure out who to talk to. Of course, we all have our own ways and processes of doing stuff, but that's just literally what it is. You have to have a process from how you before you record the video to after you record the video to edit. I'm also the host of the show called Journey of an Entrepreneur. I actually started it in 2020 when I had my 9 to 5 on Instagram. And it was because I wanted to build visibility to my business. And I knew that Instagram was the only way that I could go live. And then the 9 to 5 didn't know about me. So after interviewing 100 entrepreneurs, I started my second business, got onto LinkedIn, learned a very hard lesson, but 6 months later, I got laid off and I went full into this business. And now I have a agency where we work with medical professionals and law firms, but we also work with manufacturing companies or other organizations who are wanting to see how they can implement video and live streaming as part of their strategy, because it's not just posting, it's not just going live, it's also more than that. And then on top of that, I have a community in Facebook where I've coached over 100 and even one-on-one clients to group coaching to just the community itself to beat their camera shyness. I've seen individuals who were scared to get on camera who are now the voice where they work. So it's really exciting to see people go from being shy to getting out there. So my hope is you're watching this, taking notes, and that something from here helps you get out of your comfort zone. So let me ask you, you can drop a heart, you can raise your hand. Are you an entrepreneur, an executive, corporate professional, full-time lollygagger? Let me know. Would love to know. So we'll ask who's an entrepreneur. Whitney, I know you do social media. Adam, you own a consulting company. And Audrey, I was trying to stalk you, but I couldn't find you. So I must have been doing something wrong. And she's saying, I'm none of these things. But which one are you, Whitney? If I had to add one, which one would be you? That's what I would like to keep in mind, because I don't, when I was thinking of everybody, because I thought I was somebody, I was making sure I hit everybody. Rock star. Okay. If you're a rock star, raise your hand. I'm raising mine. Okay, so nobody else did. That's okay. So before we get into any of this, I would like to say that when we're born, we're programmed to recognize faces before we even talk, before we're even able to just share what we're thinking or feeling. We're crying, but we see a familiar face, we hear a familiar sound, we know we're safe. And so sometimes we forget that. So you want to definitely keep that in mind. So you are in production control aerospace and you want to begin video production for a side gig. Audrey, you know what? We need to be best friends on LinkedIn. If we're not, we need to be. I'm always looking for people who want to learn video editing and all of that. So yes, I'm actually going to take some video here for, it's called B-roll. So that way I can use it as content. So if any of you are thinking about, hey, I want to get in front of a stage, or I just want to see how I'm doing or performing, definitely have a video camera next to you recording you. So going back to this topic, imagine your child, they're just born. Now, when they recognize a face, they get happy because that's you that they're seeing, their parents. But what about the first time they meet your parents? If they haven't met them before, they're a few months old, they're like, who are you? You can see their face, they get startled. It's the same thing. The more times that someone sees your face and recognizes it, the more time that they're going to say, I know you. even before I met you in person. So I want to throw out some stats just in case if some of you were like, well, why should I know about this? Well, video is actually getting used more and more by different companies. But what I am going to challenge is they're not always doing it right. They're not always creating the content that walks the individual through the process of what it's like to work with them or what their process is like to create that product. And I want to say that some of these that post videos on TikTok, the reason why their videos do so well is because they're just saying, you know what, I started from my garage and they're showing us the hand way they're doing it. But it's also possible for manufacturing companies to show where did you start and where are you today? Because there's always that dream, like there is this person who dared and got out of their comfort zone and they wanted to start a company. And now they're in the beginning stages, but you may be working for a company that maybe 100 years ago or 50 years ago started in that place. And so that journey is what people like to connect with. So just keep that in mind as we go through. Your story is just as powerful, if not even more, to connect because there's so much noise. These stats are there, but how can you be above the noise? And that is recognizing that your personality, your experience is what's going to help you stand out. So let's start. Would love to know in the comments, or you can go off mute, what's really stopping you from getting on camera or going live if you're not going live right now. That's a good one, Adam. Don't want to feel salesy. I'm always feeling that way. Just know how technical. That's a good one. Technical is always good. Whitney, you go live. You do this more personally than professionally. So professionally, would they be opposed to you going live and talking about like how you help the business? So for those who are watching this replay, I'm actually looking at the comments, which we have Adam who says, I don't want to feel salesy. We have Audrey who said, just the know-how technical. Whitney said, I do this more personally than professionally these days. And then the question that I asked, you gave the answer. We haven't really discussed. There is someone else in charge of company social media. Got it. Okay. So those are all great reasons. Sometimes it could be out of your control. Sometimes it is in your control, but I will just step into, let's get into it. So these 3 tips that I'm about to share with you are going to help you build visibility using video and live streaming. And I want to just say a caveat. It's not always what you think that is going to be answered or shared, but it's going to definitely help you in the long run. So I mentioned it in the beginning. It will help you, these tips will help you increase visibility, not just on social media. It will help you get more leads and opportunities. But something else that's really important that I didn't list is the confidence you have in yourself, the confidence you have in your knowledge, and the confidence that you have that whatever you're going to share with your community, with your team, with your potential ideal client profile, that you know what you're talking about, that people know, hey, Adam is the person to go to for this topic. Whitney has every Friday, she does a share about a podcast or a book that she's read, and you look forward to that. And Audrey, it could be a video tip maybe that you share. So these are things that although you can get more visibility, you will get leads, it will increase your revenue or help you land a new job if that's something that you're looking for. But it's also the soft skills that you will build. So if you focus on those soft skills, things that you are struggling on, then you will be able to grow. Do we have any questions before I move on? Okay. So the number one tip that I always stress on is mindset. As you start to step out of your comfort zone, you start to get out there, you start to post videos, you start to go live, you start to post content, and you may be posting content right now, but you might be doubting yourself. You might be doubting your abilities. You might be wondering, did this make sense? You might be wondering, oh my gosh, nobody is paying attention. Nobody is DMing me. Nobody is commenting on my content. But instead of getting caught in what's not working, why don't you pat yourself on the back for even doing that much? We have like 900 some odd million users on LinkedIn, but only 7 million posts. And of that 7 million, only a small percentage of that posts daily. I think it's about 3%. And then within that 3%, you could break it down on the types of what I call neighborhoods. And the neighborhoods are like your mindset coaches, your manufacturing, your video, your auditors. These are the different neighborhoods. And one neighborhood is going to be more dominating than the other. But the fact of the matter is, your neighborhood, manufacturing, within manufacturing, consulting, you might be one of the top. But it's just that the industry that you're in may not be very like, hey, I want to work with you. But imagine, Adam, you go to an event or you do something like this, and then you have somebody, I've seen it before, they come up to you and say, man, I love your live shows. I love your videos. And you're thinking, why haven't you said anything? Why aren't you commenting? It's because for whatever their reasons are, they're not. But they're telling you, we want you to come to our event. We want to hire you. We came to this event because we wanted to meet you. The reason I can say this is that my boyfriend, Robert Berry, is an auditor. He's Robert Berry, that audit guy. I've seen in front of my eyes a woman who said that same exact thing. So I will say that just because people are not looking at your content does not mean they don't know you. Now, we can always go back and fix those things, but your mindset will play a big role. It will tell you things that are lies. Don't focus on it. And when we say have a game plan, could you share in the comments, or you can, unmute, what are things that help you reset your mind or reset yourself because maybe something happened? So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the comments and I'm just waiting for everybody because I would love to know. Motivational speech, Will Smith, treadmill speech. Ooh. Do you have David Goggins? Do you look at his stuff? That was Adam, and then Whitney is saying taking a walk outside or running helps you reset my mind. Yes, Whitney, since you do post videos, would love to see a video of you like running, and then you could do just how it helps you reset your mind. And then Audrey says, I write it down. That's a good one. Journaling, journal prompts. So anytime that you find a way to reset yourself, I'm just starting to get back into running. It's not pretty. Whitney, this is why, and I'll just share this tip. When we start over and we share that journey, we get so much encouragement, and you will be surprised how many will be reaching out saying, I feel the same way and I want to run with you. But going back to the game plan, it helps, because what's messy today is not going to be messy 1 month from now, and definitely 1 year from now. If I showed you my first 50 Instagram lives, you would laugh because they're cringy, but they are the reason why I'm here today. And Audrey's saying it's all girl. I am there too now that it's cooling off. You got this. See, Whitney, you've got some encouragement. So it's all good. Hey, it's one of those things too. If you tell yourself also, it's going to be all good, it's going to be all good. So now you've realized, okay, I've gotten past this. What's stopping me? I've gotten past who cares, whatever person says. I mean, I personally you're fine, Audrey. Audrey's saying, forgive me, my typing is challenging today. You should see me on a good day on LinkedIn leaving comments. You would wonder if I'm from another country. Really, I'm not. I'm from here. I'm typing this message at 2:30 in the morning and I can't sleep. I've tried everything to go back to sleep. But going back to what platforms will you go live on? I believe there are two people this is my philosophy. There's only two people I love, the people who pay me and the people who are my family. Everybody else can, excuse my French, suck it. I just don't care because you're not paying my bills. Like, no, let's just keep on going. So once you figure out who you're talking to, we have to remember that. So if you find that you are specifically going after a certain type of client, you need to know where are they. So once you figure out the platforms, because we'll go through the different platforms, understand that platform. Take time, especially if it's many of you are on LinkedIn right now, but it could be that you want to go to TikTok and you really want to understand TikTok. I would highly suggest you look for the top marketers on TikTok. The reason I say that is because he's a friend of mine. His name is Konstantinos Sinodinos. He's also on LinkedIn. He's got 2.1 million followers. And he's on Instagram with over 447,000 followers. So he understands that short form content. He understands what people are looking for. So anytime that you get on a platform you're not familiar with, go to the neighborhoods of marketers. And within the marketers, understand who are they. Social media managers are really good too. Especially on Instagram and TikTok. And then on LinkedIn, you have LinkedIn experts. There's so many. There's Jasmine Alec. There is Laura Acosta. There's James Vanderbloom, Richard Moore, that these individuals just understand how to use LinkedIn. And then you will be able to understand that platform. So now I'm going to go into the different platforms. I think you guys know this one. I don't know too much. I could be wrong, but LinkedIn, you will find more of your professionals, your corporate professionals, but you will get direct access to those high decision makers. If you're using Sales Navigator or if you're not using Sales Navigator, again, dive into who do you need to talk to. So if you are talking to the CMO or if you're talking to the director of sales, whoever you need, you can find them on LinkedIn more. Now, they may not be as active, but I guarantee you they'll connect with you. I focus on a lot of medical doctors and law firms, lawyers, and they are the worst. They're like, I don't know, but I have found that when in their time, they do connect with me. So you just got to be a little bit creative. Also, if you find that you're looking for the director of sales or the chief marketing officer, find out their company page. So LinkedIn has company pages that may have a newsletter. You can find out from their website what other websites that they are on. So their social media. So it may be that they're on LinkedIn for their professional, but then maybe they're a little bit more active on Facebook and Instagram. So it's just sometimes we think that they're here in one place, but really they're somewhere else. I would suggest have a spreadsheet, and then it will help you understand where are they. But keep in mind, they will always be on LinkedIn to make that connection to get into their business. Any questions? So another thing, a tip just to keep in mind, once you connect on LinkedIn, your content will show in their feed for 2 weeks. So this is how your videos will get in front of them. This is how your live show will get in front of them, because you're engaging with them in some manner. So they will always see your stuff. So when you think of your content, sometimes we think that, and I will put it out there, sometimes you got to test. Marketing is all about testing. So you may post the same video on different platforms, and you'll be surprised how it performs. Then after 90 days, you can kind of see how to tweak the messaging. I'm not going to focus more on the messaging part, because what I've learned in my own experience in working with clients, that a video on LinkedIn might be just a video that could help them connect with other potential patients or potential partners that could collaborate. So for you, Adam, when you think of a collaborator, who might be a good collaborator for you?
You mean someone that we could do projects together on?
Yes.
Probably someone else that does some sort of consulting, either process improvement or cost reduction consulting.
Okay, let me ask you one question deeper. Whoa. So one question deeper is, do you only get leads with the person that does something similar to you, or a business that is outside of that but still comes to you for help?
I don't know if I understand the question.
Okay, so for example,
Mhm.
if you are a pain management doctor who focuses on patients over 65, and you wouldn't go to another pain management doctor. You would actually go to maybe somebody who's in internal medicine or physical therapy. Well, physical therapy they have, but we'll keep it at internal medicine. They don't do what you do, but they can funnel patients to you. So for you, if you're in process management, let me ask that again. Who would come to you if their processes are struggling, or they're
Yeah, so now I understand. So someone that like works in the medical costs, since I don't do anything like that, that would be a good collaborator, because we don't do the same thing, but it's kind of we're catering to the same audience.
right? See, that's what I mean. Like sometimes we think collaboration has, okay, so Whitney says that she had to leave, but that's okay. You can watch the replay. So just in case you have to leave, you definitely can watch the replay. But going back to what I was sharing, when you go through and think about outside of the box, who you could collaborate, it's not going to be somebody in your industry. It's good to do once in a while, as long as you're not competing, because you don't want, sometimes that could get messy. But if you figure out maybe in sales, helping them with their processes, maybe in some other industry, that's that going into deeper. And then this is how LinkedIn plays a role, is finding those people, because many times they may not be posting, but they may be posting on other platforms, which is where you would be also too. So it might be that they're on LinkedIn, but they're heavy on Instagrams, which is the next one. So Instagram is more of the fun. They have pretty pictures, but at the same time, you can still find really good content. People do use it as a search engine. So you definitely want to have a presence there Carousels do really well. Carousels are those documents that we call in LinkedIn, but they also do static posts. And of course, if you post a reel, it does well too. And surprisingly, you could post a video on LinkedIn and you know which video will be pulled up, which people don't know, is the one on LinkedIn on Google, because it's SEO. Like they pick up their SEO really big time. So if you are posting a video, definitely think about, you could be a little bit more fun on Instagram with your video. Maybe you might show a little bit of side of you that you're not showing on LinkedIn if you are not comfortable. But at the same time, you can talk about, for example, can you give me a topic that you talk about, Adam?
Garbage.
Huh?
Garbage.
Okay. Verbiage or garbage?
Garbage.
Garbage. Okay. So for LinkedIn, you might be targeting look. Garbage looks different for all of us. And then breaking it down because you're targeting, you want to get targeted. On Instagram, you could actually do, I mean, you could still use it on LinkedIn. I would do it, but on Instagram, you could use the same voiceover and you could have different garbages showing. Of course, that could be the same video that you could post on LinkedIn on, let's say, a Wednesday, because Wednesday is always hump day. We get those slumps. Or it could be Monday because it's motivational. Or it could be posted on Friday because it's something funny, because everybody wants a nice laugh. Or it could be a Saturday, just, leaving the garbage of the week behind. The garbage is always going to be there, but it's your choice to carry it with you. So there's so many ways you can look at that. But you can always say, you know what, I'm not very comfortable. If Instagram is not your strong platform, still post it, because you'll get out of your mind. Should I post it? Should I not? So that's where I would say. And then Facebook is another one. We sleep on Facebook, but I know a few people who are making millions off of Facebook, but you will find the personal side of your potential client. So businesses are posting there. So you could also be there as well, commenting on their stuff. And then you can find out who are their clients. Because many times that same company who is on Facebook and they look at their comments, they're going to their profiles. If they're smart, they're going to their profiles. So for example, Mary she is an assistant to somebody you want to work with. But Mary's really big on Facebook and she's always commenting and stuff. And if she starts to see you posting on the company, she'll go check you out. So sometimes you got to do a little bit deep dig. So it goes back with your content. When you think about who you're creating it for, then figure out where are these decision makers. They're always going to be on LinkedIn, but what's the other platform that they're on? So before I move on, I just want to make sure I'm covering if it's like crazy talk or no. And then we love YouTube. You can always learn. If you utilize YouTube, you're really just setting and becoming an authority to others. YouTube has YouTube Shorts. You also have long form video as well. And if you're thinking about live streaming, this is a great place to have a bank. Again, when people search for you, YouTube will come up as well, because guess what? That's Google. And they also have podcasts. So they're really trying to push the podcast element. So you could also show, it's called a playlist for YouTube, and you'll have a playlist of all of your podcast episodes or your live shows. I know many of you are on Twitter X, and they're moving towards pushing out video and putting content. But I would also say if a lot of your clientele or who you're looking for is on Twitter, where do you default back to? Yeah, well, from X, where do you can go back to LinkedIn. LinkedIn, they sleep on LinkedIn, let me tell you, but you can find a lot of information about a person. They may be really, really big on Twitter, but they may be smaller on LinkedIn and you can get to them faster connecting. I will share that there was for example, there was somebody who I wanted to learn more about. His name is Craig Siegel. He's super big on Instagram, but I found him on LinkedIn and found that he was a smaller there. And I was able to connect with him and send him a message. So just if you're sending out connection requests, use the add note. Try to find something very, very personal in it. The fact I put something that caught his attention in that note, he instantly wanted to get on a call with me. It's crazy, but it just shows that even if they're big on one platform, they're small on another platform. And a lot of times LinkedIn isn't it, but if they're one of those who's big on LinkedIn, they could be smaller on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and they're trying to build a presence. So number 3 is be consistent. If you decide that you are going to commit to going live, posting video, posting content, what habits can you create? What systems that you can create to help you be consistent? So I'm all about, I have a podcast, Adventure of an Entrepreneur. It's taking my current show episodes of Journey of an Entrepreneur and previous ones and turning them into a podcast. So one of the things I had to figure out was, how can I cut down this process to 20 minutes? And it took me a little bit of time, just like some of you, you're like, oh man, this is taking 3 hours. But once I figured out, okay, record the opening, keep that consistent, record the closing. So now I have these 2 files. Now I have the episode. I chop what I don't need. Then I add my music and we're done in 20 minutes. So that's the same thing with your content. If you say in 2024, I want to do 3 pieces of content per week. Yeah, Audrey, it took me a while. It took me like a good few weeks to figure this out. But if you commit, I'm going to post 3 times a week for next year. Now, today, think about what processes do you need to have that happen. So you've already started it. So by January 1st, you're not thinking like, how do I start? You already know how to start. If you're like, I don't think anybody's like me, but I had to figure out this process in August. It only took me until like 2 weeks ago. I have my process. It took me about 5 weeks. So we're in October and December 31st is coming. Give yourself that chance to have an idea. What kind of content do you post, Adam?
Typically, it's just when something hits me that I think is interesting. I talk about garbage. When I see garbage containers that are overflowing, like I might post a picture of that and just explain why why that costs the business more money.
Okay, that's actually good. But now we're going to actually go a little bit deeper. What does your potential client need to know and understand before working with you?
That's the $1 million question. I think part of it is an awareness of it, that this costs them money month over month over month. Then the next piece would be knowing that they can trust me. That would be the second piece of it.
Okay. So if you were to think about it, you have pillars, and the content pillars are your buckets of what you will be recording, creating. So if you looked at it, we'll first do an introduction video. Who the hell are you? We don't know who you are. or you can do an introduction live, or you can do an introduction post. If you want to get more reach on LinkedIn, you do an introduction. If you don't post video consistently, do a picture of yourself. So now they know who you are, and get personal. I'm like, hi, my name is Adam. I have a beautiful wife and child and 3 dogs and 1 squirrel as a pet. Like, nobody's going to expect that. But just sharing something, you only share what you're comfortable with. Then when you think about the second day, why does it cost a company when you have too much garbage? You can go sub deep into it. Like, go deeper into it. Like, what is that? Why do I need to know that? What is it going to do for me if you tell me this? You think of it not from their point of view. I mean, your point of view, their point of view is important. What are their objectives and goals for their business? And then the third day is trust, and how you build trust is really answering myths and objections, personal. Like, hey, there is not one business out here who has not hit a slump. My slump is going to look different from your slump, but it's a slump. Example, Alex Armazi expressed that one day he had negative $150,000. I've not ever experienced that, but I have experienced a negative $200. The pain is still there. It just looks a little different. But those are the things that people say, oh, okay, you know what? I trust that. So that's just something to keep in mind when you think of trust. Trust is not just answering the myth, and those are good, answering the myth, common objections, but also just sharing your story. And now you have 3 pieces of content that one day, and you identify which day is that. So if the first one is about you or about your business, and then the second one is why it costs, and then the third one is trust. So it could be Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you can't do that, maybe it's Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. But the reason why I'm like sharing that as a suggestion is because if you miss Monday, the next time that you post is a Wednesday, and you already know what content gets posted on Wednesday. And your state of mind gets easier to create that content. You don't get stuck in like, oh, I missed it. No, just go to the next one. If you miss it, go to the next one the next day. If you miss it, engage. Your one post is not going to get out to people, but you being on, and whoever is that you connect with, your ideal client, the top people in your industry, the top people that everybody posts on comments. You just need to be where people see your name so much that they get interested to come to your content. Any questions? And so the content that you post helps you build authority. The content that I mean is, like, for example, your videos, your static posts, your carousel or documents, your live show. It helps with public speaking, your confidence in yourself. Just being able to stand up and talk to people and say, this is what I do. This is how I've helped the team grow, the business grow in a peer review. It helps with understanding your ideal client. Things are changing. What was happening in January is not happening now. However, what I have noticed are trends and upticks of certain behaviors of people. So if you're in the industry of manufacturing, you can see how the buying behaviors are changing. You're also understanding things that are affecting the world and in decisions in certain parts of the world. It just helps you understand things what's on people's hearts. Because if you're really in tune in what's going on, this is what's going to help you stand out. And of course, building trust, which is important, building community, because we all want a community, but if you're not engaging with other people's content, you're not engaging with them in their DMs. For example, Adam, you could just ask somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time. It could have been a sales call that went bad. You happen to remember they're from, they have family in Israel or Palestine. Just asking, hey, how's it really going for you? Just small talk. Even if you don't want to talk about the war, let them talk. The fact that you sent that, or if you have a quote that could help motivate them, because people are going through stuff. It's that small things that help you stand out. And even if they don't do business, they will refer. And last but not least, because you post, because you are getting out there, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Not every post is going to go viral. Not every post is going to get more than 3 likes, but it helps you build clarity in your brand. It's clarity in what you want to do. When I think about the journey 3 years ago, I had started a virtual assistant business. And now I have an agency where we do a done for you. We do social media strategy. We do video production. We do coaching. And even just recently, I figured who I really am targeting. So this is all because of posting content and how I've gotten clients who paid to work with me. So again, you don't have to start today, but you definitely want to start implementing your content, thinking of your ideas. Just post it. Who cares about your opening hook is not great. What matters is you posted it. Now you can work faster and better for the next time, because that's the process. It's not about getting stuck. Oh, the first line isn't like what they said, or, oh, I messed up in the video. Thankfully, there's editing tools, but also my first video, your first video, if you look at The Rock's first video, they're like crazy. But now 100 videos later, thousands of videos later, millions of videos later, it's different. It's because you refine the message. You say, you know what, this idea was good. Let me say this now. So this is the hard part. Do you have questions? And Audrey, if you're interested in video production or editing video, I do have a workshop that I did before using CapCut, but if you want to get deeper and learn a platform called DaVinci or Adobe Premiere, you can learn. There are many creators on YouTube. And then they also have programs where you can learn from them what to expect when you're editing videos, working with clients, especially as a freelancer, why you need to have a contract, scope of work, all of that. And then also, as you learn, Audrey, you can also start posting, if it's not on LinkedIn, you can post on Instagram, you can post on TikTok, and it will just be able to, so Audrey's saying, I'm interested. I have been freelancing as a photographer, auto photography, or as a photographer. But if you can show behind the scenes, if you start posting it on Instagram or she said auto photography. If you start posting it, just posting your behind the scenes, if you start posting your pictures, somebody's going to find you. So especially if you start connecting with car clubs, like large car clubs, or going to car club meetings, just saying, hey, do you mind if I take some pictures of you with your car? And you can have the photos for free. One of my friends, her name is Noor Photography. She did that, and it ended up, one video of hers went viral in 2022, and now she's always getting booked. But she did start in 2020, and she would take free pictures and she would show it as she posted it. So that's just something for you as you're building. But I'm going to stop talking because I want you guys to ask away, whether in the chat or going off of mute.
I've got a question. I don't know if it's so on Facebook, I've got 3 different accounts. I've got my business account, I've got my personal account, and then I'm involved in a nonprofit. I don't do anything with my business account because it just feels like that's not really like my fishing hole. It's really LinkedIn is where I fish. I don't really do anything on the personal side. I just have it because I've had it for years. But on the nonprofit side, I shoot typically at least one video a week. And they're called creek clips where I go into businesses, where I go into nonprofits, and it's just like a 90-second to 2-minute video explaining to the community what these folks do. But I don't really, I haven't found a way to really capitalize that from a business perspective because it sits over here like siloed with this nonprofit versus doing anything like having it attached to my business. I don't know if there's any value in connecting. I mean, I know there's value in it because again, they see my face and it's like, oh, okay, this guy's out in the community. But I don't know how to bridge the gap between this is my business, this is a nonprofit I'm in, like this is who I am. It feels like my business one is just strictly business.
So one thing I would ask is when you go into these nonprofits, can you walk me through how do you help them?
So it's just about getting them exposure. Like the 2 minutes is just getting them exposure in the community so people aren't aware. I'll give you a great example because it's the first one. It was a Goodwill store and it was called the Harbor Creek Boutique. And it was really, really nice looking. It had a Goodwill sign, but it looked very different than any other Goodwill. So I went in there, and this Goodwill was selling like Versace and Gucci. Like this was like a Goodwill store, but it was high end stuff. And they said that no one was really coming through because it was just a Goodwill. And so I did like a 2 minute, like, hey, this is this, like showing around, like, this is the stuff they've got in here that just so people were aware of what was going on. So that's really the intent of it. When a new business opens up, we'll go in there and we'll just, hey, what do you guys have going on? What are your hours? That's really the intent of these videos. And now they're very segmented just to my community, but I also don't do much business in my community, and I think I'm probably missing an opportunity to do something there.
Absolutely. You're not asking what is their process like right now.
Yeah.
What are questions that you could ask that's not going to be part of the get a tour, this is who they are, say hello, because that's one part of the video. That's one video. Then there's a second video that you do. Start asking these questions. Like, hey, this is what I do and help. I would love to be able to see if it's a possibility that I can help you. But for right now, I would love to see what advice I could give that could help you today. So if you could and I'm just going off of what I think you do, so I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But if you could walk me through your process of XYZ.
Yeah.
And now you're walking them through, you're recording it, they're giving you the answers, and then that could be content for you because now people can see how you work with others. And then your 90-minute video shouldn't be 90 minutes. It should be broken up so you can have 2 videos.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 90 seconds. It's like a 90-second, 2 minute. Like it's a very quick.
Yeah, but even then you can break it up into two or 3 videos. Like you can get a lot of content from 90 seconds. It shouldn't be posted once a week. You could actually do 2 to 3. You could schedule it using the professional dashboard.
Yeah.
And then, you just type up and then it goes out. What do you think all these people do? They have automation. So if it's not your bread and butter, that's okay. But I don't think you're giving enough, you're not giving your organization enough time, the nonprofit, to have more people come. But at the same time, this business owner, if you do through 2-3
If I can give
videos,
them something that's of value to them, but I'm also doing something that shows that I'm an expert and
yeah. So you're doing, what you're doing is you're just posting it and you're giving them more
yes,
exposure.
exactly.
But in
Exactly.
return, what you're doing is now you're getting content and they're getting a little bit of free advice. Of course, when you get, if you feel like how I'm going deep with you and you don't want
Yeah.
to share that, you can take that out. Or you can say, because you're editing the video, but you can say during the time, look, these are 3 things that you should keep in mind. A, B, C, and A could be, look, if you're looking for your potential client, and you can go deep in it, but when you edit, you take out the deeper part. You could,
Yeah.
what I'd say is, let's say there, maybe it's collection of garbage.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make up something.
Yeah.
So what you need to keep in mind, why you want to have your garbage collected on time, is because, one, hit them with an impactful tip, or you can say something that's like, whatever. It's going to say everybody saves money. That's always a good one. But
Yeah.
maybe the first one is, it helps with keeping away those pesky lurkers who are looking for food or things to steal from you. That
Yeah.
could be, for example, the homeless or the raccoon. And then for them, it could be, but also it helps you keep, it keeps unwanted insects into your business. So
Yeah.
that part could be cut out, but the like lurkers like raccoons and homeless people, that might be of interest for other people. Then number 2 is something a little bit more impactful, and that could be, it avoids you getting, you having, what is one reason why you want your trash collected on time?
Well, so if you're so like the big green dumpsters, if that lid, they've got a black lid on top of them. If that lid's open a little bit, you get charged an overage fee. So
Okay.
it's like even if it's just a little, you get charged a big fee for it.
Okay, so the second one is getting unwanted attention by your neighbors and the community, which that, what that brings
Ah,
is that now people associate you with a bad experience. So they're not going to
yeah,
have in their mind a good, they think they're going to have a bad experience. Not everybody, but it's psychological. That's a
yeah,
deep one. And then the third one is, it saves you money. Look, nobody likes getting charged $250 every week. So how about we cut that? And so now they, and then for them it's say, look, what you can do to avoid that, contact these people, because you know who to contact. Like they don't,
yeah,
other people, like let's say like in Houston, that's not going to help me. But what's going to help me is that it's going to cost me money, and then I need to look for my local, like be in touch with my local rep so that this doesn't happen.
yeah,
And where could I go? And this
yeah.
video, as much as it's, so LinkedIn is a little bit favorable, you could do it for 1 minute, minute and a half, but I always say at least 45 seconds. And then if that video does really well, it can turn into a live show because you can go a little bit deeper.
Oh, okay.
So see how this one client, potential client, even if they're
Yeah,
not, got so much from you, you got content, your prospects are seeing, or ideal client profile saying, you know what? He knows what he's talking about. And it's real time.
I like it.
And you could draw people to your nonprofit page. Like if you want to learn more about this business, go to here and you can put the link to the video.
Okay.
And you would put it in the comments. Don't do it in the actual
No.
post. Put it in the comments.
Okay.
So that way you're drawing people in all sorts of
Yeah.
ways.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And if you find that, look, you're like, you want some more support, I definitely have a 90-minute session. I also do one-on-ones, but anytime you want to do a social media strategy, I offer that as well. Audrey, I do have a course on CapCut, but if you're like, no, I don't want to use CapCut because you can use it on the phone or the laptop and you want to go a little bit deeper into editing, there's DaVinci and Adobe, and there's a lot of content out there, but there's a lot of creators who will actually walk you through how to do it, and they have actual courses, how you can make money, all of that, because nobody wants to be paying, not making money. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm going to actually stop the recording and say thank you to everybody who's watching this replay. I hope it was helpful. Make sure to connect with me. I'm located here, but I'm really much more connected on LinkedIn and Instagram. But if you connect with me, I will connect back. Also, drop a message and say you saw me here so I know. And let me make sure I stop the recording.